Okay, welcome. I'm Max. So, yesterday, I was bored and I didn't know what to do because that's just the summer mood. And instead of studying, which I do need to do, or working on my personal statement to get into university, which I also need to do, I decided to just rearrange all of the books I own. Some books I basically just unhold, like those ones there. But it's so hard to point to something like this. Those ones there, I DNF'd, and there's some on the floor also. But the rest of the books are in their new places in my bookshelf, and I want to explain a little bit about my bookshelf. So it's an old apothecary shelving. So basically there's an upper half which has glass panels that slide, and lower half that has wooden panels that slide to get to the actual shelves. And basically, since I have a cat, I can only keep the upper ones, the glass ones, open. So I know a lot of people like to put little things on their bookshelves, and I like that too. But I could only do it on the upper half, and I only had a quarter of, well, actually an eighth of the upper half that I could use. So there isn't much bits and bobs there. Because again, I couldn't use most of it because part was already used, part I needed to use for school, and part was a collection of all books by authors who won the Nobel Prize since its inception to like the 1970s, which is a lot, and I'm not gonna move. It's in chronological order by year of Nobel Prize. It looks fantastic, and it's exactly where it should be, I think. Mainly because that's a lot of books, and also this shelving is so high and I'm so short that I would need a ladder to get to the top, which is not something that I personally enjoy. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I want to read a book, let me go get the ladder. So yeah, that's where it's staying. Sorry for the lighting. It's bad, but this room has horrifying lighting. But it's the only room I can film in currently with a lot of talking. So let's get to it. So this is the apothecary shelving. So that I couldn't use because I'm using it for school and my mom is using it for stuff. That's my father's old CDs and cassettes, and my father is dead, so we're gonna keep that. That's the first three shelves. It's the Nobel Prize collection, and then the lower two shelves are a collection of books that my father had, and also some comics, and well, Persepolis, which is not a comic, it's a graphic novel, and it's like very much not comical, but it's in French. I don't speak French. It's gonna stay there. As you can see, there's two 1860s fashion prints. This one, it's currently not taped to the glass, mainly because it fell yesterday and it's hard to tape it, so it's not. But it's so cool. This should be the end of the decade. This should be the midpoint. It's lovely. I do have a third one, but I'm not sure where it is. And that's like very late 50s, I think. So then there we have the movies. Just all the movies, and I put some of the bits and bobs that I had. There's 2 Funko Pops. That's Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. I've not seen the series, but I did read 3 of the books. Then we have Remus Lupin. This was bought in non-suspect times. And the Powerpuff Girls. So I ordered it by date of publication, so this is the latest one. Fun fact, this one I bought because it had a typo. It's such a funny typo. So this is Alec, and to explain, I have to say that there's a friend of mine who has a blonde lion with golden eyes called Jace, and I think that's all you need to know. We have 2 Catherine Howard biographies. Guess what I was obsessed with late 2019? This is such a fun book. It's not translated in English, sadly, but it's lovely. It's a non-fiction book. It's an hilarious non-fiction book, and it's this girl, Bianca, when she was in grade 8, she started writing down everything 5 of her classmates did for like a week each, and it's so fun. It captures how fucking weird it is to be in the same room with like 20 other teenagers for 6 hours a day, every day, 6 hours, 6 days a week, so well. It's hilarious. I love it. Then we have Masquerade Alice, I think it's actually how you pronounce it in English. Doesn't matter. So this is, yeah, Alice 75th anniversary Disney. This was bought in Amsterdam, actually, and I love it so much. I would love to recreate the dress if it didn't mean that I had to like sew individual bunnies on the skirt. The first 2, All the Boys I've Loved Before books. Then we have Murder, Most, and Ladylike series. I don't have the new collection of short stories that it's like 2 days old. And fun fact, so as you can see, I have 2 copies of Jolly Foul Play because it's my favorite book, and this one, and this one are signed. However, when my cousin ordered the signed books, he messed up and they were signed to his name. And so I tweeted to Robin Stevens, and she sent me reparative stickers to my birth name because my mom doesn't know I'm Max, but Sailor Moon and Luna Funko Pop. This was the first Funko I've ever bought, and I love it so much. Shadow and Bone and 6 of Crows. I'll buy the rest once I'm done reading Shadow and Bone. Actually, when I bought 6 of Crows, as you can see, it's visibly older than this one. I thought it was the very first one, but I actually never came around to read it, so it doesn't matter. The Neapolitan novels, which My Brilliant Friend is based on, I love it so much. Everyone, please go read it. The first 2 books are better than the last 2 books, but it's so good. It's lovely. Please go read it, but also go look up the trigger warnings. There's many of them. And last bits and bobs, it's not books. On here is this lovely thing I bought in Paris. Actually, made by Michelle on Montmartre. And it's really cute. I love it. So then, so the thing is that I was sure the books would take just this, and there's 2 shelves in here, so when I finished going there, I continued here, and then here, and then I realized I didn't finish, so I went there and there, and then I realized I didn't finish, so I went back there and a little bit there on the opposite end. You'll understand when we get to that. So, opening here, we have a bit of John Green. I feel like that's obligatory. The Fairy Oak books. So this were translated in English apparently, but it's just just an Italian childhood story. I love it so much. Talking about childhood book series, I have 25 of these books. It's just about a bunch of kids at a ballet school. It's actually called dance school, so to understand. But I love it so much. It's great. I only have 25 of them. I need to buy the new ones, but they're like republishing them now. I don't know. I've lost track of them, honestly. So this is the first Italian edition of the book Teeth, and so how you know it's the first Italian edition? It's that it's called The Little Girl That Saved Books. While after the movie got out, they reprinted it as Story of the Book Thief. Then we have this art called The Manga Guide to Science, and as you can see, some of them are missing, but I really loved them as a child. The Percy Jackson series. Now, the thing is that I really loved this during a really terrible period of my life, and it'll always remind me of that. So I still have them because I don't want to get rid of them, but I also would rather they weren't around because they remind me of that time. But no hate to the book series, to the writer, to those who love it. I really used to love it. They just remind me of a terrible time. And there we have Sailor Moon. So, fun fact, the first book I bought at my usual bookstore, because we didn't have comic book stores in here. And then I was like, okay, next week I'll buy the second and everything. And then they just skipped like the second and the third or something. And so I never like got around to buying the rest in this style. But then I was like, for my like 2 years ago, for graduating another year of high school, my mom bought me all of it, and it's lovely. Yeah, and so we're done with this one here, and we scoot over to here. As you can see, the first 3 Game of Thrones books. Actually, I'm still reading the third one. But it's been like 3 years since I started reading it, so I don't remember anything. But I probably can't start again from this one, from the beginning of this one, so I'll probably have to go back to this one. And it's such a daunting task, I put it off till I die, probably. Another childhood favorite book series called Nina. Don't think this one was translated, which is sad, really sad. Another book about the Six Wives of Henry VIII. Guess what I was obsessed with 3 years ago? Good Omens. Okay, it cut off. I'm not sure where or when it cut off, but basically this is a book about like Italian immigration in America, and I need to finish it. The first two Fear Street books, they have nothing in common with the movies. I knew that going into the movies, and I knew that going into the books. But I still have a lot of quibbles with the first one. I haven't read the second one yet. Prelude to Foundation and the other, like, God, this is a mess. Yeah, Prelude to Foundation and how it's called, Forward Different Foundation. Okay, I'll find where I was later on. Then we have 4 of the Degrassi books. I mentioned I was slightly obsessed with Degrassi. We have Exit Stage Left, Stephanie K, which is my favorite character, Shane and Caitlin, and I ordered the snake one and it never arrived. I ordered it in February. It's August. The entirety of the Hitchhiker's Guide and Neil Gaiman's Guide to the Guide. Narnia. These are book 3 and 4 of Little House on a Prayer. For some reason in Italy they started from book 3 to publish them, but once I buy it all, it's gonna be such a pretty. Okay, so it cut again. I don't know why, but basically there's a bit of Agatha Christie on here, H.G. Wells there. This big one you see, it's an Italian one, Italian classic called Il giornalino di Gian Burrasca. And now this is this part of it. As you can see, I don't have many books published in the 19th century because this is 2010, okay? Well, no, I think it's like 2008 or some 2005, and that's 1880 something. So as you can see, not that much. If I could close this door. And then we move on to here and some other amount of books unveiled. And this is why I had to go the other way in here, because I do have the other bookend, but it's busy, so yeah. But here we have Anne of Green Gables, the first 6 books. The first book is a different edition, and I could buy the first book in this edition, but it's already been rebranded to be Netflix themed. Well, this one do have, like, this one has the Netflix logo. It's not a Netflix photo. They all have the Netflix logo, but they don't have the photo. I didn't want the one with the photo, so I have a wildly different one now. Sherlock Holmes, Little Lord Fauntleroy, Saint Famille by Malo in French that I bought in Paris. I don't speak French. I don't know why I keep buying books in French. Anna Karenina, Middlemarch, Little Women, the first book or if you're in England, the first 2 books. We could have done all 4 books. This is Little Women, but in Italian. War and Peace, Alice in Wonderland, and Fruited Looking Grass, both in English and in Italian. A bit of Austen and a bit of Shakespeare. And then this is Sappho. God, I'll have to censor that. And this is an anthology of vampire stories, which I put here because some of the stories are really ancient. So it's second oldest book I have, basically, according to my mind. And then we have Shakespeare, The Complete Works. This I bought in London. It was £50. The Complete Works of William Shakespeare that has sprayed edges. And I bought it at Harrods. When I read, I actually don't think it was 50. Maybe it was like 30 actually. Anyway, I could not believe the price. This was basically thrown at me. I love it. So yeah, that was my entire bookshelves, my entire collection of books. I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, this is gonna last at max a year because I'll be moving hopefully to a different country in a year if I write my personal essay. So I'll have to change it and just decide what books to take with me and what not to. But I hope it gave you some, understanding of myself, to see all of the owned books I have, even some of the ones I am unhauling because I unhauled without going under. I left my Storograph under. I'm still Final Max on there. And it also says the books I've read recently, and how many stars I gave to those I read from March onwards. They're mostly 4 stars. I think I'll make a video probably at the end of August detailing all the books I read this year because I didn't read that much. I read mainly in January, in March, and like in June, July, and August. I have 3, 2, 1 books respectively. So yeah, I've read 20 books this year though, which is an improvement to last year, which I read 9 books all at once, all in August, and nothing the other 12 months. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I'll leave my Storograph below, and also my Instagram and Twitter, which are mainly, as I said, Degrassi based, and my Tumblr, which is just Tumblr, but also mainly Degrassi based. And anyway, bye!